Be a freaking mistake. Good God Almighty. Ain't no turning back now. I have opened up Pandora's box. Probably. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Shout out to you guys on this fine Thursday afternoon. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Had a video planned for today, filmed it, was ready to rock and roll with that, but didn't get a chance to get it edited. Had to run out. A buddy of mine just came home from jail yesterday, Jellicoe. Got a chance to see him, do some filming with him. But trust me when I tell you, this isn't even really the title that I was going to go for this. I just figured this title would bring in more people, and then we do a little bait and switch and get to what I really want to say here, and that is, oh my God, did I stick my, what was that title? I stuck my foot in my mouth yesterday. Boy, did I sure ask for it yesterday. Addressing the fact that new information has come out in relation to the Karmelo Anthony case, but is it from a trusted source and can it be believed? Folks, I mean what I tell you, that I wanted to address this situation and believe that I did so from as neutral of a standpoint as I could have. However, even feeling like I did a pretty good job of that, there were certainly people who don't think that I did so. We're going to talk about all the things today in relation to this new information being shared by the likes of Charleston White, taking to the internet, sharing stuff that I've never heard before until he's put it out there. And done so in what I like to believe is a pretty freaking outlandish way. But, you know, I do understand that that is his nature, to be a bit of a performer. You got to put on. And boy, did he do so. I also had no idea who this person, Sarah Fields, was that he was basically sending some shots at yesterday. I've now been made aware. And Sarah Fields, an investigative journalist, I believe, who's been covering a lot in relation to the Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf case, has responded. Hey, Big Steam, what's going on with your brother? Back shower I got next. Hey, yo, back shower. My buddy Jellicoe just got out of jail last night. I think he got out at 10 o'clock last night, so I got a chance to go see him today. Did some filming with him. It's my hope to do some cool things with Jellicoe, and he's got a lot of ambition getting back out here. And, yeah, so the video that I had for today, I don't want to say that I wasted it, because I'll probably end up sharing that later. But I figured, you know, why not? Let's do this live and say it with your damn chest if you've got something to say to me. Let's see how much triggering we can do on this, because I know that this is a very sensitive situation, as it should be. And it should be addressed respectfully. I like to believe that the video I did yesterday was respectful, and that the information coming out from the likes of Charleston White is definitely not very respectful at all. It is such a negative Nancy world that we live in. Why does everything got to be so damn mean-spirited and racist? I also learned yesterday, and, you know, I probably should have known this even before so, but just by me speaking on this situation, I'm a racist. You could have fooled me, you know, some news to me, I should say. And I don't like that. You know, I feel like the majority of the world lives in a matrix where you can't even open your eyes to see the truth, even if it was standing right in front of you. Folks, I like to believe that I am that truth standing before you. A bit of a messiah when it comes to screaming from the rooftops. Wasn't there an old saying like, you can't believe much of what you hear and even less of what you see? Now, all of a sudden, that should be 100% in both regards. You can't believe nothing. But yet we take what a person says to be the gospel these days. And all I was saying, and I'm not trying to defend myself in this, I'm actually legitimately trying to stir the pot. I kind of need to. So send whoever. You know, but I'm not going to do so in a negative, mean-spirited way. Me addressing the fact that Charleston White opened his big mouth and switched sides, pulled an old switcheroo on everybody. At first saying, F Karmelo Anthony. Now all of a sudden saying that this black baby is going to be found innocent. There was a lot of race baiting this man did with everything that he said. And all I was trying to do was just say, where's the proof of this? Where's the proof? I'd like to see some of, because I don't believe none of what I hear. And I'm not saying that this man doesn't got good sources. He's boots on the ground down there in Texas. These are his stomping grounds. Just curious to know. Gary says more yapping from the yappers. That'll tell him. Bullet says free Rabbit. Yeah, man. Hopefully Rabbit will be free soon. It's not looking good for him, though. But Tom is out. Don't know where he's at. He might be tuning into this. So if you are, shout out to you, Tom. Let's get together and see what's going on. Billy McFly, what it do? Appreciate you being up in here. Thank you guys for taking the time to rock with me on this, man. I'm going to make this thing as good as I can for you. So like I said, I had no idea who this lady Sarah Fields was that Charleston White was sending shots at amongst, I believe the entire white race. It's kind of what it sounded like. But I would be made to know that Sarah Fields is an investigative reporter who's been covering this situation. Charleston White referred to her as a meth whore, if I can remember correctly. Folks, she has responded saying she's going to sue the ever-loving bejesus out of this man for defamation. And I want to take a moment and talk exactly about what she had to say. So let's go ahead and run that real quick. Tell me I've got that pulled up. You know that I do. Let me make sure I'm not going to dox anything else if I do this. And what do we got here? What do we got? Just trying to find a scene that actually works. I guess this scene will work. This is the scene that I used from yesterday playing a video game on a live stream. Let me go ahead and, well, can I do it like that? I can do it like that. That'll work. There we go. I just do it like that. That works. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at this tweet from Sarah Fields, who says, I'm looking for an attorney. Defamation has consequences, and if I need to crowdsource for the funds, I will. Make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Yep, everything's working correctly. Saying Charleston White posted this an hour ago. It's already got 100,000 views and counting. This man is a martyr on the internet. You hired the right one. It's almost like hiring a birthday party, like costume dress up Spider-Man. Charleston White either playing the superhero or the villain. Y'all let me know what you think. So Sarah Fields definitely is not feeling what Charleston White had to say, especially in relation to her. We'll look at the video that she shared as well, which is unbelievably damning. Hey, Gabriel, what's going on? The entire video spews lies about the Metcalf family and Austin. This is crazy. Okay, this is a woman who claims to have information, and she's been sharing quite a bit of information in relation to the case. And then all of a sudden, here comes Charleston White to combat everything that's been said thus far, sharing brand new information that nobody else has heard about until he came on the scene with this. He mentioned my name at least 100 times. He fantasized about white people dying, saying he wanted to watch white people get shot in real life. I didn't hear that. I didn't see it, but I mean, obviously she saw it. He called me a meth whore, told everyone I was on drugs, and said my information is coming from someone on the inside. I can't even repeat everything he said without going against terms of service on this platform. It's bad. Folks, if it's bad enough that she can't say it on Twitter or X, as it's referred to nowadays, where I'm seeing videos of beheadings on this site, and I believe that the AI software Gronk over here just turned into, I believe, Hitler. I think that they tried to do an update in some kind of a way. It started spewing anti-Semitic views. The AI software did. Look it up. It's actually a story. I am not making that up. Not sure if it was hacked or not. If this woman's saying she can't share everything that was said on this platform, folks, this shit's like freaking 4chan right here. I want an attorney, and discovery will be revealing. Folks, discovery. Talking about that old motion of discovery. Evidence, so to speak. She said discovery will be revealing. He placed a target on me, my unborn child, and my family. I'm not going to stop reporting, but I'm also not going to sit here and continue to allow this libel to be spewed about me when violent people are clearly involved. If they can't silence me, they will use enticement to get what they want, and they know what they're doing. How much were you paid, Charleston? I questioned that yesterday myself, and I caught a lot of flack for that. So I decided to do this live here today. That way you can say it with your chest. If you have anything that you want to say. So yeah, that's what she was talking about. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video that she shared right here. And this is just a little more of what we've already seen, but it's worth sharing again. And we're going to get into a little bit more of the why Joe has put on the vest and become so vested in this in just one moment. Enrique says, isn't Karmelo Anthony an NBA player? Yes, the one that's spelled the way that you spelled it with a C is. Phenomenal basketball player. Can't be beat 1v1. But we're talking about Karmelo with a K. K is also how you spell killer. I don't know if there's a... And there I go. Let me stop because I am trying to come at this from a neutral standpoint.
You lift it this way.
All right, we're still talking about the Swiss Army knife.
A knife just so happened to be on there. I think even a fingernail filed on there. The knife was so small, it did not penetrate his heart. It was too small. It was a little small knife.
Wow.
They're not telling us this. And they tricked me, and they had me going against a good kid.
Yikes.
They really had me going against a good kid, so I'm fucked up about this, my white Republican friends. I'm fucked up. This is what the Democrats did to the poor niggas with the rappers and the, come on, y'all are doing to, come on, you're gonna do what the Democrats are doing to the blacks. Just give us the truth. We're smart enough conservative. And by the way, my voting record is all conservative. Mike Wallace, you name it. Mona Bailey, me and Mona Bailey. Shelley Pritchard, Jen Hall, I know all of them. Tarrant County GOP Republican Party, I know all of them. All of them. Sarah, I'm in the loop. I mean, I know about you too. Meth whore. I'm in the loop. So listen to me. They won't tell us that the knife was this small.
And that's all she needed to hear right there. I don't know if that's enough for a defamation libel lawsuit. Probably is. Nowadays, it probably doesn't take much. You got to really watch what you say because words are forever. And a carbon footprint on the internet is damning. So here's the deal. This is why I am so invested in this. I kind of feel like I want to be a part of the coverage of this. I want to be a part of this, and I want to be speaking my opinion on this from the very beginning, whether I'm right or I'm wrong. Because I think what we're witnessing here in real time is a 2025 way where AI and fake news and just basically saying anything and people will believe it because, shit, they'll believe the AI monkey videos, for God's sakes. Those shits are real, right? With the apes running around doing the vlogging in the woods. Like, that shit is real. But this is what I feel like is going on right this second. I truly believe that this is how you try to combat a murder case in 2025. This is chemical warfare in real time. We are gonna just throw out so much information, whether it's disinformation or misinformation or information that is true. The biggest question I have to this is there's a lot of contradictions that Charleston White has said. He didn't bring a knife to school. It was a Boy Scouts aid tool. Folks, go ahead and look up Boy Scouts aid tool. Sure as shit, it doesn't exist. It's a made-up freaking terminology. We're talking about a Swiss Army knife. That's what this is, a knife. But we don't want to coin that phrase. We got to steer as far away from knife as possible. Even though Charleston White does say, and there was a knife on this. A knife that he says was not big enough to penetrate Austin Metcalf's heart. He said there was fentanyl in Austin Metcalf's system. I haven't heard the first damn thing in relation to an autopsy report being released. Does this man have access to information that we don't have? Maybe so. He's in cahoots with the family now. He also mentioned that the Give, Send, Go money is frozen and nobody's accessed that yet. Folks, it was back in March or April. I think it was April, where the mother was doing the press conference saying, look, we haven't even gotten access to the money yet. We just got access to the money. Back in April is what she said. And it still takes a couple of days for that to be released. Charleston White says that the money is frozen because the lawyers are trying to get the money. Ask yourself, how much damn sense does that make? Why would the money be frozen? And then all of a sudden, why would the crowdfunding campaign goal amount be tripled? By frozen, do you mean money is gone? And I'm going to put out an opinion. None of what I'm saying has any factual merit to it whatsoever. I'd like to lead with that. That everything that I share is just my personal opinion as somebody who has been through the system quite a bit. And I like to believe, to a certain degree, I can see through the fog. Or at least I try to. And even if I don't, I try to be somebody like, I'm from the show me state. I think that's Chicago, actually. Yo, you got to show me, homie. Don't just come on here saying all these things if you can't back it up, if you're not going to back it up. I don't understand why all of this information that's coming out from the likes of Charleston White is coming out right this second, and it's Charleston White who's putting that information out. I can tell you why, though. The man does have a following, a large following, so this is definitely going to steer the narrative if that's what we need to do. We had $540,000 raised. We've tripled the goal amount to $1.3 million, and we've just gone after a court-appointed lawyer. We have a lot of bad publicity right now. So how do you combat bad publicity? You combat bad publicity with even worse publicity about somebody else. I should be an agent or a lawyer or an investigator. Missouri, thank you guys. Dale, shout out to you, brother. Gimp Walk, appreciate you being up in here. Thank you guys for letting me know. APS, appreciate y'all, man. Hey, if this guy knows better, crazy way of putting the information out there. I'll say that. But if this turns out to be all smoke and mirrors for whatever reason, man, I'm just not going to understand why it went this way. And that's why I also have a hard time believing that the information that he put out there isn't true. Because why would anybody risk their entire public image? Even though I don't really know what you would consider this guy's public image. Kamikaze style? I mean, essentially, he kind of wants like everybody to be mad and the pot to be stirred. He wants these type of debates. He wants people to be talking about him. That's how you remain relevant. You play for the clicks. But, man, let me tell you something. This topic in this title of this live stream was not what I was going to title this. I only did so to get you in here. You're trapped now. I really wanted to make the title, oh my God, I made a horrible mistake yesterday by sticking my foot in my nose in this situation, because people certainly came for me in the comments section. So I ended up filming a video which was essentially a comment response video. And I think that the mistake that I made was I didn't really go hard enough in the paint with what I was saying. You know, the world is so, God bless, and you know, bless their hearts, man. The world is so freaking dumbed down. You can't even talk about a situation without being seen as a racist for doing so. People were calling me all sorts of white cracker this and some more shit up in the comments section. And I don't believe that I said anything in a disrespectful manner. Me sharing my piece. You know, somebody actually went at me for making mention of the Give, Send, Go money, saying that it's been reported these people are living in a mansion in brand new vehicles. And because I even said that, they said I've clearly shown what side I'm on. I'm not on any side. I don't believe Karmelo Anthony is guilty or innocent. I can't tell you. Like so much other video and people have put out there, oh, the video's going to show this and show that. I don't know. And I'm so invested in this because I want to see how this plays out. Is this a tactic, a pre-trial tactic to divert, deflect, and decoy? Or is this going to be a big old I told you so? Is this going to be a big old I told you so? Charleston White was right the entire time? That's wild. And I'm not going to say that, you know, all I can say is all of this information that came out yesterday, the fentanyl talk, it wasn't the knife that killed him. It was a fentanyl overdose, referring to Austin Metcalf as white people's George Floyd. Just the delivery was a little touchy, you know, but that's this guy. I question to myself if I would have come with the same energy, how that would have went across. That shit probably would have went viral. I might be missing the mark. I might need to call things as black and white as they really are. Saying that this is not a case about race when clearly everything is a case about race. Traffic. Frickin' the stars in the sky. It's such a hateful place that we live in, and God, I hate this. I do. Sad situation. Yeah, it is. Most wanted clips, what it do. Shout out to the channel members up in here. Appreciate you guys rocking with me. Everyday winning. If you're still up in here, I saw you came through and told me that Brett came home yesterday. Just got a chance to see him today. We filmed quite a bit together. And, yeah. Yeah. Coco, shout out to you. Yeah, man. Shane says all the defense has to do is put a little reasonable doubt, and that's all. And you're absolutely right. And that's all you got to do with a jury trial. In the state of Texas, it is a unanimous jury verdict. Every state is different. The federal system is different from the state system. And, you know, not every state is going to be the same state by state. But Texas is a unanimous jury decision for a verdict, which means that all 12 jurors have to vote guilty for you to be found guilty. How crazy is that? And just like Shane says, I think you might be the same person that made the comment on the video yesterday because somebody else commented that, and I'm about to go in on this. So get your philosophy books out because Joe's about to drop heavy proverbs right here. Like you said, all you have to do is prove reasonable doubt. All it takes is one juror, and he's not found guilty. Well, let me tell you what he's also not found. He's also not found not guilty, neither, just by swaying that one juror. Instead, it's a hung jury. It's not a not guilty. Okay, we've got 11 people that think that this man is guilty, one person that thinks that he's not. We can't come to a decision, so what, he's all of a sudden he's not guilty? That's not how things work at all. No, it's a hung jury, which means that the case is dead right there, and now we got to retry the case with a brand new jury. And let me tell you something, and I'm not picking sides, I'm just telling you for what it is, because there's so much dumbass information that's out there, and everybody think they smart with this. You're talking to a tried and true jailhouse lawyer. The fuck? I'm like Jose Baez. If you think by having one juror swayed is going to be enough to change the outcome in this matter, you got to, man, the odds are stacked against you. They really are. And again, I'm not on either side of this thing. I think you also brought up another point about the manslaughter and a lesser murder charge. I do feel that there's a very high likelihood that that could come into play. Is Karmelo Anthony found completely not guilty of all of this? I don't personally know. If there's video evidence that showcases this man is getting bullied by these bigger white kids, Charleston White says two of these brothers were standing on either side of him. He had nowhere to run. Texas is a stand your ground state. I don't think it's referred to as stand your ground, but it's one of those self-defense states. So he could beat it if there's video evidence that showcases this. And if there's not video evidence at all, because I've heard people say that somebody has seen this video and you can't see underneath the tent of exactly what's going on, is there eyewitness? Is there anybody who can corroborate the fact that what's being reported is the truth? Because if you don't got video that's concrete one way or another and you don't got eyewitness testimony, holy moly, that's going to look really good for Karmelo. He could then essentially beat this. And I want to say this as well, too. Enrique says, was it self-defense, Joe? Could have been. I don't know how they're going to define that. You know, I don't know. That's above my knowledge. Because my state is not a self-defense state. We don't have a stand your ground law or anything like that. Now, I've heard of people who have beaten murder charges for self-defense, even in states that aren't stand your ground states. But I think that it's harder to do that. I don't know. That's just an opinion of mine. But there was something else that I was trying to say as well. Oh, I want to go back to the talk of the public defender real quick, because I need to share a comment with you that was diabolical to me. Like, I almost went live and just started doing like some Britney Spears shaving my head type shit, because it almost drove me that freaking crazy. So when I made mention of the give, send, go money and the lavish spending, this is the person that said that I chose sides. They said, oh, you definitely chose sides. Making those comments about the family spending the gift, send, go money on lavish spending and luxury vehicles. You ever seen what preliminary proceedings are we talking about? Opening statements? Arraignment? What? Are we going to pick and choose how we're going to use a public defender? We're going to get the public defender to try to save a little on the paid lawyer? Like, I ain't never heard no dumbass shit like that before. I hate to say that. Did I ever think that they filed for a public defender to handle the preliminary proceedings? I certainly did not. But I'll tell you what I will put out there, a little conspiracy theory, and just something to ponder. What if they feel like their case is so strong and everything that Charleston White is talking about is true? Let's just say that it is. They don't even need a paid lawyer in that case. They could try their luck with Jenny from the block. Because allegedly this paid lawyer that they have currently is something like what, $20,000 to $30,000 down and $400 to $500 an hour. I'll tell you another reason why you go for a public defender is because maybe that's just a backup plan. Let's just say hypothetically they've blown through that $540,000 on legal fees, family spokespersons, Charleston Whites. They've blown through the money. We've jacked up the GoFundMe campaign to $1.3 million, but let's just say hypothetically no more donations come in. We're gonna need a lawyer. Sure as shit, the paid lawyer we got ain't gonna do this pro bono. Sometimes I wonder if a lawyer charges more because they don't want a case. It's almost like being a contractor. You go to bid a job, you look at it, you're like, man, there ain't no freaking way in hell I'm messing with this. Homeowner's like, well, how much are you gonna charge me? $1 million. Okay, bet. When can you start? What if this paid lawyer don't even want no parts of this? You got to think about what happens if he loses this case. That's a blemish on his record. You know, from what I've heard, this paid lawyer that they have is the nuts. I'm just putting out plausibles. There's no concrete information one way or another in relation to these things that I share. I share these things not looking to stir the pot. Maybe a little bit, but more so to spark the curiosity. I'm so curious in all of this. I want you to be as well. If I share it with you, I'm not sharing it with you for my health. I'm sharing it with you because I do find this to be very interesting. All things considered here. Let me go back to another hot take from yours truly here. Hear me out on this idea. I could be wrong about this. I've mentioned a couple of different theories as to why they've brought Charleston White in. He's a smart guy. Like he said, he only plays dumb on the internet. And I definitely would not ever, ever think that he was some kind of a fool. Well, some of the stuff that he does, I don't understand the reason why. Maybe he's playing chess and I'm playing checkers in regards to that. But here's another possible scenario as to why you bring in Charleston White, and this is going to come across a little bit negative, and please don't crucify me for this, or do so. It doesn't matter. What if bringing Charleston White in, again, consider all things prior to Charleston White making the statements that he's just made. And he's still continuing to double down on all of these things. Prior to that, the family was looked at super negatively because we've jacked up the goal amount. We've gone for a public defender. There's been outcries and a lot of people offended by this, feeling like maybe they should get their money back from this situation. How do you get money back that's no longer there if it is, in fact, gone? What if Charleston White was seen as an investment? A bit of an opportunity to see an ROI, so to speak, a return on investment. Hey, we bring Charleston White in, a man with a massive following, a man who knows how to ruffle the feathers of the entire world, white, black, green, brown, purple. But we sway the conversation away from what everybody's been thinking about prior to this. And that in turn spawns engagement. And by engagement, I mean clicking on that donate button. Folks, I've actually looked at that Give, Send, Go like it's a freaking Bitcoin since Charleston White has gotten involved in this. Just because I wanted to see if whatever retainer or fee that he charged has actually paid off dividends thus far. Let's go ahead and look at it right now. Oh, I'm looking at a different Give, Send, Go as well, too. There's another very controversial situation, but I won't touch that right here. So the last that I saw this Give, Send, Go, it was at like 544,000. Let's see where it's at right now. Oh, boy. Folks, we've got a problem here. That Give, Send, Go campaign is frozen in time. That joint hasn't, well, I can't say that it hasn't budged because we've gotten a $100 pluck and then a $12 pluck and then a $50 lick and then a $25 and then a, yeah, we're getting a, but it's not coming in fast and heavy. The Beast says, what's the new info? All the new info is the things that have been put out on the internet, I believe within the last 2 days, by Charleston White, claiming that Karmelo Anthony didn't have a knife. He didn't have a cleat sharpener. Where did that information come from? Was that something that just materialized out of thin air on the internet? It's almost like playing that game where you whisper, like as a child, when you line up in a line and you whisper in the next person's ear, and by the time it gets to the end of the line, it's something totally different. Did we abandon the cleat sharpener thing, or was that just some made-up shit that somebody threw out there? New information, Charleston White says that the Boy Scout aid tool, which is now being referred to as, that Karmelo Anthony did have, which also has a knife on it. It's a Swiss Army knife, essentially, what he was referring to. The blade on it was not long enough to penetrate the heart of Austin Metcalf when he stabbed him. Bah! Right in the heart. Allegedly. And that also there's an autopsy report that showcases Austin Metcalf had fentanyl in his system and that he is essentially, these are Charleston White's words, not mine, the white people's version of George Floyd, and he in fact died from a fentanyl overdose and not from a knife stab wound. That's a little of the new information, which I just have to tell you is quite a bit just right there in those few statements. Kevin says he Googled the Boy Scout utility aid tool and it doesn't exist. Yep. Sunday says Sarah Fields is a good reporter. I don't know anything about anybody involved in this except for Charleston White. I followed him for years. I don't have anything against the man, neither. I don't agree with the way that he went about sharing whatever information that he's put out there, race baiting with it, making a lot of really derogatory statements that he knew would stir the pot. But I guess that's what you have to do in a situation like this. It's almost like a fight. There's no rules in fighting. Okay? A win is a win. And God bless it right now. That's what they're looking for. I want to share this. You want to talk about misinformation. I went back and I tried to find this and I couldn't find it, so it may have been deleted. I think I ran across it on X in relation to this case. Came out long before Charleston White did, probably a couple of weeks ago. I'd say at the most like 3 weeks ago. On TikTok, if you guys use that platform, you may see people who go live and there'll be like these different boxes and you'll have like a whole bunch of people on a live stream doing a debate and everybody's got like a little box with like their profile picture, or if they're showing their camera, then that's where they would appear at. Somebody had shared on X a clip of a live show on TikTok, just like the way that I'm describing, and allegedly Austin Metcalf's father was in that live stream saying a lot of racist remarks. I don't share that to put out misinformation. I share that because you First of all, I don't believe that to be true at all. When I saw that, I was like, there's no freaking way that this guy would do something like this. I don't personally know the guy, but if your son has just been killed and there's a big high-profile trial coming up, I don't necessarily think that that would be the smartest move to make, to get on a TikTok live stream when this guy really isn't showing his face too much or saying all that much. Haven't really heard anything that this guy's had to say outside of Karmelo Anthony being allowed to graduate high school and the uproar that caused. I think they wrote a letter to the school. So why the hell would this guy get on a live stream and just start ranting racist shit? Folks, when you talk about dirty bombs and dirty methods and all-out warfare when a trial is coming up, folks, these people who are putting this type of shit out there have absolutely nothing to do with the case, I imagine, or maybe they do so. Think about a political debate. You remember all the bad information and fake videos that were coming out during, I think it was not this campaign, but the one previous. You had all of these videos coming out that were trying to sway votes. This is a very similar situation, I imagine. And I think to myself, like, why would anybody go through the trouble of doing this? To change the narrative is one way. For anybody to think that Karmelo is winning the popularity vote here, there's no way that you could imagine that. Is he now all of a sudden, now that all of these new details, alleged information has come out? I don't believe so. The crazy thing is, you don't know what to believe. But when you feel like you're in a no-win situation and you're backed up against the wall, maybe even potentially like Karmelo Anthony felt underneath of that tent, who's to know until we do know better? It is fight or flight in that moment. And wouldn't a person be willing to do anything to try to change the tide? That's how I personally feel about the situation. I could be completely wrong about this. Shane says murder trials will take years to play out. Why? Why would a murder trial take years to play out? Why would this murder trial take years to play out? What murder trial has taken years to play out? It could take a year before trial, but best believe once that trial gets underway, hey, man, it could play out for a couple of weeks at most. I know that a lot of people have opinions on this. I don't have much of opinion. I've got some theories, I guess, which are opinions. But nothing really in relation to the meat of the case. Like what actually took place. You're not going to hear me posing a theory there. It's plausible any which way until we know better. All of my theories and opinions are about all of the things in relation to the sidebar bullshit, to the noise. Because that's what all of this is. It's noise. And people know that we live in a day and age now where all you got to do is say something and people believe it. And if you can show them a little something, that's even better. And right now, I haven't seen anything. I've heard a lot, but I haven't seen anything. I've heard that there's been people who have seen things. I don't understand how they're saying that the video can be viewed at either a police station or some sort of a school. Like, you can go there and you can view this alleged video evidence that exists. And I've seen people mention, at least in comments, that there have been those who have gone to look at the video evidence and what they saw afterwards. So I imagine that if that is true, you're not going to be allowed to take your phone in there to film or record this. I wonder if they know about those Meta spy glasses. I don't know why there's not a vlog out there, why there's not a TikTok that I'm running across where somebody's like, hey, y'all, hey, we're here at the school right now. We're getting ready to go watch the video. I'll be right back. I'll tell you what I saw. Man, I ain't seeing nothing like that. Nick says only one reporter saw the video. Who the hell knows, man? Ain't no telling. I don't know when this thing is actually going to go to trial. I don't know what we're waiting on in relation to that. Like Shane says, sometimes murder trials can take years to play out. Sometimes they can take years before they get started. And, you know, that could be at the, you know, the beckoning of the defense, the prosecution. Hey, look, we need some more time. We're still building our case. You know, the defense could be asking for extensions and extensions and extensions. And those could be granted if you can provide good reason as to why you need those. But eventually this thing is going to get underway, and, you know, we are going to see, or at least hear about, how all of this really did go down. And I'll just be curious to know, I'm sure all of you will as well, how the thing plays out. You know what I hate the most about this? Or one of the things that I hate the most about this? I think the thing that I hate the most about this is how racist the entire world is. I hate that first and foremost. But I hate for Karmelo's family because I know that they love their son, right? I do hate that for the mother and the father. I know that the kid comes from a good home. And I'll tell you this. You know, Charleston White says he was a good kid. Man, even good kids can sometimes do heinous bad shit. And in situations like that, that's like even the scariest. Because you raise them right, and it still all goes bad. I am not sitting here picking a side one way or another. I'm just throwing out plausibles and just other things to consider. Nobody would ever imagine that they would find themselves in a situation like either of these families are in right now. And there's no good that comes of this, no matter what. You know, the kid lost his life, and one way or another, justice is going to be done. When the trial goes and it plays out, whatever that verdict ends up being is what it's going to be. So it is a unfortunate situation, and it's scary to be a parent looking at this entire situation. I think that adds a little fuel to the fire too, because nobody wants to think what it would be like if they were in that situation. Just my opinion. Kevin says Charleston White ain't helping with the racial issue in this case. Yeah, and I do feel like he's the type of guy who feels like, let's not shy away from it. Let's call it exactly what it is for extra emphasis and merit. So I kind of believe like that's why he's really harping so hard on, you know, the racial undertones here, because you have to make this stand out. And I will also say, again, there's got to be a reason that he's doing this, even outside of money. There's got to be something that he knows that we don't. Because if it turns out to be nothing remotely close to this information that he's put out here, I don't know how you rebound from that, if you even could do so. So we'll see. Folks, I just wanted to jump on here and talk about this situation with you guys live because of the fact the video that I had, and I'm still probably going to end up putting that video out too. I didn't get it done in time. I ended up going to see a buddy of mine, Jellicoe. He just got out of jail last night, and you're going to be seeing more of him, and I'm going to be breaking up the content a little bit. I've really been going hard on the the true crime and these hot and heavy stories and news situations that are taking place. But there's so much more that I do here as well. And shit, I'd like to lighten the load a little bit and change up change it up a little bit. It gets a little monotonous when all you do day in and day out is talk about negative shit. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time to rock with me on this. I hope that you found some interest in this. Ain't no way you could find any enjoyment in this. But I do enjoy doing these lives where I am able to shoot the shit with you guys a little more candidly, engage with the comments. Man, I appreciate you guys just for taking the time to hear me out on this. I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong in anything that I share, just my opinion and what I'm thinking with all things considered taking place as of late in relation to this particular case. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a great one. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day.